praised.
Amen.
The godly and virtuous woman I'm talking about today was born May 7th, 1933. Her name is Beulah Every Mason. Amen. She was raised in Jackson, Missouri with her sister Martha and brother Robert during the Great Depression era and while the slavery mentality was still trying to linger on. We are often reminded how black families had to work hard. Their parents worked hard, and the children had to do almost as much as hard labor along beside their parents for the whole family to survive. Now, I could say that her family was up before daybreak and in bed before nightfall because of them having to work in the fields picking cotton, beans, and greens, while others stayed around the house cooking, cleaning, feeding the cows, chickens, hogs, and pigs. No, not her family. Her family lived on a farm. Not a plantation, but a farm. The farm was owned by a white family, the McWilliams. Mr. McWilliams allowed this black family to live on the farm rent-free. Well, not really rent-free. Beulah's grandfather, Henry Shepherd, who was knee-high to a duck, as she described him, used to attend to the McWilliams' stable of horses. He could barely see over the horses. They couldn't see him half the time. And he would be loaded down, packed down with clothes. And he said the clothes, he wore a lot of clothes because when he sweat, the perspiration would cool him off. Her grandmother, Mary Shepherd, did all the chores in the home of the McWilliams family. There's a funny story that Beulah told me. She said that her father allowed them to own a pig, a pet pig. And one summer day, it was thundering and lightning and raining very hard. So her grandfather brought the pig into the house. And when they came back home, the pig had tore up the house, tore up the kitchen, ripped up the linoleum on the kitchen floor. It just had practically tore up their whole house. Well, in the fall, that pet pig became sausage and bacon and ham and pork chops. As a little girl, education was important, but so many black children were not privileged to attend school because they had to work in the field or do other chores from sun up to sundown. But not this little girl and her siblings. They walked about 2 city blocks. They lived in the country. So for us, 2 city blocks to school. Although segregation was still in existence, she was able to get an education in a 2-roomed colored schoolhouse near her home. When her grandparents passed away, her father, Robert Hap Mason, as he was called, decided to take a job hauling coal. He didn't want to do the horses. Her mother, Hazel Shepherd, went to cosmetology school in St. Louis and returned to Jackson as a licensed beautician. Well, it was time for Beulah and her 2 siblings to start a life of their own. Her brother Robert was killed while serving in the army. Her sister Martha went to school to become a licensed practical nurse. Beulah met and married a young man, William Earl, and started raising a family of her own. As life would have it, they did not live happily ever after. Being a single parent, raising her family, she was determined to make a better life for her children and 2 grandchildren that she was now raising. If it took getting on her hands and knees to scrub floors, doing laundry, cooking, or cleaning houses, she vowed that she would not allow her children or grandchildren to be without food, clothes, or shelter. She worked untiringly. This godly woman, who by the sweat of her brow and unbending knees stayed before the Lord. She served and worshiped him. She raised her children and grandchildren in church and taught them to fear and love God. God blessed her through all of the hardships and trials of life and allowed her to see her children and grandchildren graduate from high school. Amen. While raising her children and providing for her family, this godly woman never gave up on God. This godly woman has been serving God and her church for over 60 years. This godly woman has served as the choir president. She has served as choir director. She has served as pastor's aide president. She is a chef and caterer extraordinaire, some kind of cook. She has served as hospitality president. This